Hello, babies, lovers,
Baby
thank
Queen.
BB queens, gorgeous, beautiful people. Thank you so much for being here on Valentine's Day. I
And
love
spending
that
it with
there,
us.
yeah, and spending it with us. There aren't a lot of places to be right now except on the internet. So like, why
Why
not be
not?
here? Yeah. I do because I feel like I miss this every single time. I want to go ahead and say hello to the people in the chat first because I always seem to forget that, right?
Right.
Thank you for being here on Sunday. I want to say hi. Let's see here. I don't see his comment here, but I know that Travis is always like here first.
He's
And
right there. He changed his profile picture, I think.
oh, okay. Well, hello to Travis. You're always here first, and I love it. But I'm going to go ahead and say hello to Tony. Sounds like you got a really cool gift
Great
for
gift.
your girl. Yeah, that's awesome. Comics are like, duh, the best gift. And hello, of course, to John. So glad that you're here. And then hello, Aramis. Please let me know if I'm pronouncing that
Thank you for
wrong.
vibing with us.
Thank you for vibing with us here today. And then Banshee Queen, happy Valentine's
Thanks
Day.
for joining.
Kirby, thank you for being here. And then Travis is just like, hey folks, saying hi to everyone. I feel like a
Travis is our
greeter.
hype. Travis is like our hype man.
Hi, Travis
He's
is
our
like
hype man.
he's like the hype man for the community. I love it. Like if you ever see Travis's Instagram, he's like always commenting people in the community. So and then hello to Brandon as well. I hope I didn't forget anyone. Hope everyone is having a decent Sunday. It's Valentine's Day. We're here, but we're here to talk about comics. I know that I got a huge stack of books this week,
As
and then,
always.
as always, I ended up getting like not even.
Jen bought half the store.
I feel like I
There
do.
was
Like
no
one day,
denial to that comment, y'all.
yeah, one day they're just gonna be like, we're out of comics, Jennifer. Like we're done.
Done.
You bought them all. Aramis. Okay, thank you so much, Aramis, for letting me know how you pronounce that. I appreciate that. So I did end up buying, I think this week, not including like back issues, variant covers, things like that. I ended up buying about 30. And I read,
Because you're
I think
crazy.
I am crazy. I did end up reading like 20 something of them. So
She's got me beat, folks. Once again, Jen holds the title of the true comic queen. You heard it here first.
is that I've got like little tiny BB muscles. I can't even flex, y'all. But there were some winners and there were some losers this
There were
week.
some big losers this week.
There were some really, we were just talking about that. We're like, I read this one and I didn't love it. Do you just want to get that one like out of the way?
Can
Yeah.
we? Can we just get the negativity out now?
Please and thank you.
Okay. And I feel like this is fitting too, given the whole Valentine's theme, I guess. So I've never picked up a book from AWA Upshot. And I don't think I ever want to ever again. And that is because I picked up Casual Fling #1. Now, first off, I feel very misled on this book, okay? I was promised weird romantic shit. I was expecting robots or aliens or just weird romance stories. And listen, we need more romance books and comics, and we'll talk about that, I think, later on in the show. But this ain't it, Chief. I hated every second of this. Also, thank you. You're so kind. As I rant and rave about how awful Casual Fling was. If you're new to the channel, it's not always like this, I promise.
Yeah.
But Casual Fling, as a woman, made me feel very, very uncomfortable. So like I said, I expected just some fun, wily romance book, kind of like Sunstone-ish, where it's kind of freaky and I'm kind of into it, kind of like Money Shot, where it's kind of weird and I'm kind of into it. This instead turned into blackmail porn, where it's a woman who is unhappy with her marriage, unhappy with her life, unhappy with her children. And she finds the mysterious man at the bar and decides to sleep with him and then realizes it's a mistake. And it literally ends with him having revenge porn on her. And then even reading the letters from the creators, and there's points that are like,
he said something along the lines of like, this is deeply personal, and I'm like, did you like?
Yes. So there was that. So the first little bullet point that I have is, this is a story about manipulation, betrayal, sex games, and revenge. This is about psychological darkness. If I ever heard that on like a dating profile, like psychological darkness, I think I'd run the fuck away and call 911. And then here it is, the other one where it says, I had to grapple with the story I took more personally than I expected to.
Yeah.
And apparently this guy, and he's kind of creepy. Like, I don't know about y'all, but his author bio is like the creepiest thing I've ever seen in my life. That's it. That's all. I mean, do you have any thoughts on the book other than it was just gross?
So I don't necessarily, like, I don't want to be like it's gross, because I get where they were going with this, like, personal, like you explained it perfectly. Like in Casual Fling, she's basically, it centers around this woman, and I get the vibe of like, can she have it all? Can she have a career? Can she have a family? But she's disillusioned with the idea of having a family, having her career. She's got to make sacrifices for her career, and can she do it? I thought it was interesting in the way that it was very personal, and it's not a superhero book. It's not like a romance book. It's at the end. So spoiler alert, she cheats on her husband, and
as the title says, casual fling.
And she cheats on him with someone from work, and he basically videotapes them having sex, and I guess probably to use it for blackmail.
And he's got this weird fetish of wearing a mask, which, now that I think about it, he probably blackmails women all the time, and the reason why he wears the mask is so he doesn't get caught. Yeah. Wow, I just figured out the whole book. Now you guys don't have to read it.
Yeah. I feel like I'm kind of notorious for reading books that I hate. I'm probably still
it's gonna be another Mercy for you.
It is. I think that I am morbidly curious still about this book, and it's only 4 issues, so I think that I'm just going to go ahead and do it, because I'm unoptimistically intrigued, I guess. So
I'm disappointed, because I could have swore it was supposed to be like an anthology series, and I could have swore I remember seeing something in previews about androids. And not to say that that's what I like, but listen, my guys, I thought it was going to be different, and I'm actually just going to pull up the solicitation right now from previews. Also, hello, happy you get chocolate wasted yourself. I actually have not had any chocolate wasted. Also, the third cover for Casual Fling is very interesting.
Oh, really?
It's very interesting. So now I am kind of intrigued as to where the story is going.
I thought that the story was going to be more supernatural based. So like, I thought that there was not necessarily like robots, but I thought maybe there was going to be like a ghost or something like that. Like, that's the...
Also, this is not the previews document that I saw before. I think somebody messed up.
Is this like Mandela affecting?
I swear to God, whatever, it happens. But Casual Fling, I'm not going to be picking it up. I was just very... I've never actually been creeped out while reading a comic before, and this did it.
It very much was creepy. It was very cringeworthy, especially considering that like revenge porn is a thing, and so you see this character doing that. And I feel like in this story, what the author is trying to do is they're trying to set up this game of like, do we feel sorry for the woman who cheated on her husband? Are we going to be rooting for the person who gets revenge on her? So I don't know what the author's like real angle is, but I'm morbidly curious, and I am going to either set myself up for success or failure. And you find folks, like and subscribe to see the results.
Like and subscribe.
Come see me here in like four more months and see how I really feel about Casual Fling.
Heard it here first. So what else did we
Yeah.
read this week that we want to talk to? Because I feel like that's the only bad book. I mean, there was a couple that I was a little disappointed in, but that was the only one that I literally read it and went, what the hell? It's my deep beyond for the week. It really is.
Oh no.
It's my deep beyond for the week.
You know, there was a lot that I read. I actually, I feel like this was the week that I finally really gave up on Future State. I only read like 3 titles. You said that you did or did not read
I have it. I did
Superman
not
Wonder
get a
Woman?
chance to read it. I just know I love Yara Flor, so
Yeah.
I like their dynamic too. I like the fact that she's like this hot-headed, you know, I'm gonna go in and bust some heads, and he's the foil where, you know, he comes from this family line and legacy of Superman, and he has to be a little bit more calm and reserved. And I just feel like I like their personality a lot. I was a little hesitant when they announced a Superman Wonder Woman book because I got New 52 like PTSD and was like, don't want to have to force myself through that again. But I really do like their relationship together a whole lot.
I don't know if this is maybe my perspective. And speaking of like comic book couples, I actually hate Superman, like Clark Kent and Wonder Woman. I hate them as a
Agree.
couple.
No, they're awful.
I get where they're coming from because they're like the 2 white super people of DC, basically. That's not, you know, Batman. And so Batman has Catwoman and, you know, whatever. But I didn't feel it. Anyways, that's the
That's
OG.
our 2-second hate on
Yes. So sorry. You know, I just don't appreciate them as a couple. And I feel like I started to
She
get those
deserves to be with
vibes.
Batman anyway.
Oh, I disagree.
What?
Yeah, I
What?
don't think
Oh,
no. I think that she deserves someone from Themyscira. Like I
no, I
feel
agree
like
with that, but I like her and Batman as like a warrior fling, a casual fling,
a
if you will.
casual
A
fling,
casual fling.
full circle there.
Full circle there. I don't know. I just like how she puts him in line, and she puts Batman in place as like this broody, angsty person. I don't know. I kind of like that. I'm just here for it.
You know, I can see that. I see. Man, okay, this could be a whole nother conversation. Maybe
We're
we'll
gonna have to have a
yeah,
debate. We'll have to
yeah.
have a whole episode debate because I could do it.
But anyways, with because Future State with Superman and Wonder Woman, it's John Kent and Yara Flor, and I felt like they're trying to ship them, and I'm not necessarily here for that. But anyways, I only read like 3 books from Future State. The other one being Kara Zor-El, Superwoman, and I loved it. They did give me a little bit of like relationship between her and the other character in here, which I wish that there was more of. And this one ends at issue number 2. I don't think that I haven't seen any more of this announced, so we'll see.
We'll see. Because DC's too busy announcing new Batman books and not announcing anything else. So, you know, we're getting
too busy just trying to like
Snyder Cut.
That, and they're too busy trying to sell us on like Red Hood, and spoiler alert, we didn't find that out this week either. So
oh, you mean Red X?
Oh, sorry, Red X. Yeah, so they're trying to Red X.
What is wrong with Red Hood? I was about to bust through the screen in defense of Jason Todd, but yes, I can agree. I feel like Red X is going to be the new like hot character. Like we had Punchline for a couple months.
Yeah.
Now we're going to have Red X for a couple months up until we get the new Batman villain that's like Miracle Molly, which she cute, but it's just another, I feel like it's just another cash grab for them.
I feel like they're trying to do that, and at this point that's how they're going to get money from me anyways. Like I like how this character looks. So Batman, what is it, 108 or whatever that's coming out, that we'll see.
I'm gonna buy the cover.
Yeah,
I'm gonna buy the cover. It's by Art Germ. I'm gonna buy it. They know what they're doing.
Yeah,
but I feel like it's gonna be another Punchline. I feel like Punchline didn't get the reception that they wanted, in terms of she was hyped for months, like for that first like month or so, but now we're what, like 6 months later,
Mm-hmm.
and people have just kind of dropped
Yeah.
off of her. So
Well,
that's just how I feel about that.
As much as I love, oh my goodness, what's his name? Who's writing Punchline?
James
But
Tinian?
yeah, James Tinian, as much as I appreciate his writing, I feel like the only line that he could give her was, "You're the joke and I'm the punchline." And it's like, come on, dude, you're better than this.
Yeah.
Give us something else other than that. So there was other stuff that I read this week that I really enjoyed. We both read, you read Radiant Black, right?
Yes, I did. Radiant Black. I liked this, but I think I'm gonna trade weight it. I think I wanted
Okay.
I
So,
wanted more from it. When I say I wanted more from the Millennial Crisis. So like those first 2 pages where he's talking about he needs his bank loan.
we'll say that one more time.
So the very first, I feel like I needed more Millennial Crisis from it. So I feel like those first couple pages when he's on the phone with the bank and saying, "No, I need this loan. My account's in the negative," yada yada. I really like those moments because as a millennial myself, I know what a crisis our fucking
Totally
lives are,
relatable.
and it sucks. And that's what sold this book on me when I initially picked it up, was he's a millennial like going through a crisis who gets superpowers. But then it kind of started to fall flat for me, and it almost feels like a modern Invincible. It almost feels like a modern Invincible, which I also enjoyed, but again, it's going to be one that I definitely trade weight. The art in here is gorgeous, though. I did not expect how gorgeous some of the interior artwork is. It feels very modern and very flowy and feels like a superhero book, but doesn't feel like a superhero book. So, like I said, I think it was pretty good, but we all know how I am when it comes to my pull list, so.
I definitely understand that, because it was good, but I don't necessarily feel like it was a premise that I haven't seen or heard before. Like you said, it gave me Invincible vibes, and it also like Image's version of Power Rangers. So I feel like this is Chris Higgins doing like Power Rangers, but I don't know if he's going to go in like what direction he's going to go in with it. Like, are we going to get anything different? This book feels very young adult for me because most of Image has been a little bit more adult themed. So like for me, I'm just like, I get the millennial angle, and where I can totally relate to a character that doesn't have a lot of money in the bank and in fact has like debt and tons of it. So I 100% get that, and that's relatable. But at the same time, I feel like they could have pushed the boundaries a little bit more and either put us more into crisis mode, like maybe more extreme, or but I'm here for the ride, and I'll probably be picking up the next issue at the very least.
Yeah, that sums up my thoughts on it exactly.
And but I do agree. I think the artwork was fantastic. Yeah, I don't know what else to say other than I'm just gonna pick it up.
It was just an average book. It was nothing terrible, but it was nothing spectacular. It was just kind of there, I'm gonna have to trade weight it.
Yeah.
I agree with Mars on Radiant Black. Gonna have the next few issues to chance, but see where it goes. Yeah, that's all you really can do with something like this. So, so Orcs. Did you read Orcs?
I did. I'm trying to find it from my pile.
So Orcs, I've talked about before, is a very special book to me because of its creator, Christine Larson, basically being the reason why I got into comics in college and things like that. So huge thanks to Christine Larson if she ever watches this. This was just fun. I'm not gonna lie to y'all and say that it's the best thing I've ever read, but it was just genuine fun. I think it's a really, really great all ages book. I didn't realize that this is actually from Kaboom, which I feel like, so we have Kaboom, we have Boombox, and we have just Boom Studios.
Yeah.
So I feel like Kaboom is more of like a very, very younger age reader, whereas Boombox is like kind of like everybody. It's like all ages. So I did kind of feel a little dumb while reading some of this because it does get a little childish here and there, but as always, I love Christine Larson's artwork. I love her character designs for these little orcs. And they're having a fun little adventure. So like if you have kiddos, if you want something fun to read with your kids, if you just want to get them into comics, or if you've got kiddos that like D&D, I feel like this is just a really, really great pickup because listen, I love orcs and I want to see more orcs in comics. So it was so good, so cute, and so wholesome.
That and the vibes that this gave me is like D&D Steven Universe.
Yes!
So I think that because Steven Universe was one of the things that I ended up falling in love with during the quarantine. I felt like it was very wholesome. It gave me incredible emotional vibes, like all the feels with each episode and a lot of personal character growth. So to see a group of orcs and at least the illustrations remind me of Steven Universe, so I think it's really cute. I think that I'm probably going to trade weight this
That's
one.
how I feel. Mm-hmm. And I can honestly, now that you've said that with the Steven Universe stuff, I see it 100%. And I could honestly see it being adapted on like Cartoon Network or something, or even Netflix, and just being like a fun little kids show. Because it's got tons of personality, and I think that kids would really, really enjoy it.
Especially like you said, I would probably recommend this as a trade, especially to younger kids getting into comics. I don't know if the how more like emotional this is going to get, or if it's going to have like serious adult themes in it. But I do think that Orcs is going to be for that
age group.
Teen age. I don't know. I was reading filthy shit when I was 12. So I don't know. And now I am a weird
Who knows
adult.
what the kiddos like these days, right?
Who knows what the kiddos like these days? All the kids are, I don't know what they're doing.
They're
doing their TikToks. Yeah, doing their TikToks and Fortnitings and I don't know.
We're officially old.
Yeah. But I'm okay with it. I think the kids are going to be all right. So, one of the other books that I read that I really, really loved was Black Hammer Visions. I loved this book so much. I am a huge fan of Patton Oswalt as a writer. I am seriously enjoying his MODOK series, which MODOK number 3 comes out this week, I think. It's on my list to pick up. So he wrote this issue of Black Hammer Visions, which is single stories of the characters in the Black Hammer universe, this one featuring Golden Gale. And it is a serious love letter to one of my favorite comic book movies, Ghost World. Ghost World, the movie, and the comic book as well, was me in high school. That was me and my best friend in high school. So to see that Daniel Clowes influence in here was really, really cool. So I enjoyed it a lot.
So
did you love it? Did you hate it?
I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I feel like I need to go back and reread it because again, this I think was another book that it was a bunch of books where it's like I was expecting one thing and got something else, and that's not necessarily bad. I think I just need to stop boosting my expectations, maybe. I don't know. I expected to see more Golden Grail in this, and that's what I was kind of hoping for. Okay. However, when I think about it, and I don't know if you saw I made that face because I just made a connection here, but I feel like the long-running story of Black Hammer Visions is going to be stories of our Black Hammer characters from the perspectives of other characters and of everyday beings. And that reminds me of one of my other favorite titles, Darth Vader Visions, Dark Visions, which has the same Vision title in it, where that was, stories of Darth Vader from the perspectives of other people. So now that I think about it like that, I think I did enjoy this. I really did enjoy this. It's just, I expected to be a full story following Golden Grail. I thought maybe I'd see her and Barbalian together because I love them as just a friendship pair. But, thinking about it and thinking about how creative and how rich the storytelling can get from the perspective of other people makes me excited, especially when the next cover looks like this,
Mm-hmm.
that just has me intrigued and wants to see more. And I only wish that issue 2 was not written by Jeff Johns.
I was just going to say, I am very disappointed because it does look really cool, and it features, is it Dragonfly who it
It's
features?
all about a boy who's wandered into Madame Dragonfly's cabin and is now left in the aftermath of it, which just sounds so cool and bizarre.
But why Jeff Johns?
Why Jeff Johns? And it makes me not want to pick it up on principle.
Mm-hmm. So I will probably be picking up issue 3, and definitely the trade. But I'm probably gonna go ahead and skip issue 2. So.
Which makes me sad because it's got the coolest cover so far.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what were some of the other books that you read?
So the only other thing I read, because I'm severely slacking, I didn't get a chance to catch up on I Walk with Monsters or Homesick Pilots, but I always make time for Darth Vader, and I don't know how I'm feeling about this series right now.
Really?
I was really, really into the series in the beginning, and it had me going, and then I don't know. So now we're going to Exegol, and maybe that's why I don't like it, because Exegol is the Sith Lord planet that was featured in the wonderful Rise of Skywalker movie. So anything that comes from that movie, I'm kind of just oblivious to. However, we got some really emotional moments again. And I will say this, I know I said I don't think I love it as much as I did when it first started, but I don't think I've read an issue yet that has made me cry or hasn't made me cry, because we get all of these like intense and painful flashbacks of Anakin and Obi-Wan, and then him relating them to, Luke. It's like he literally goes through the high ground scene, so he literally goes through the high ground scene and then envisions the same exact scene with Luke Skywalker, and it's just kind of hi alien, but it's just kind of heartbreaking because Darth Vader, who is this emotional man and has lost his wife and lost everything, and now basically is a slave to the Emperor, now is like having to go through the same emotions with his son, and is worried now about losing his son the same way and still being a slave to the Emperor. So I will say this, I think out of all 3 runs, being the Kieran Gillian, the Charles Soule, and the Greg Pak run, I believe this is the one that has gotten his character, I think, the best.
Really?
And has managed to merge Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader seamlessly, because they always feel very like 2 different characters just because of the way they're portrayed in the movies.
Yeah. Yep. Because like that split in the movies, I guess.
There's a weird disconnect, because you got Hayden Christensen, who's very emotional and very outbursty, and then you have James Earl Jones, who's very like cool and smooth and the leather daddy, and I worked that one in there just for Chris, because I know he gets kicked out of when I call Darth Vader leather daddy, but he is a leather daddy. He does indeed wear leather, and he is indeed a daddy. So put it together and you get Darth Vader leather daddy.
I love it. I'm Happy here Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day from your leather daddy Darth Vader stans.
Yep.
I did read a lot of other things, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of like go through some of them really quick. I did read Scout's Honor #2, really good book by Aftershock. They have been doing just some absolutely incredible things with their books. I feel like I'm enjoying Aftershock right now more consistently than I'm enjoying Image books.
Really?
And I think that says a lot. Yep. I feel like maybe it's because they're putting out less with Aftershock, and Image right now is doing stuff like Deep Beyond, and so anyways, I won't trash that any more than I've trashed it, but Scout's Honor #2 was really, really good. I did pick up Sword #2 and 3. Let me go ahead and put some of these aside. So I read issue #1 of Sword, did not like it whatsoever. I really liked the cover of issue 3 of Sword, and so I'm like, let me go ahead and pick this up. And of course, it was a King in Black tie-in, so I'm like, let me go ahead and pick it up. And so issue 2 and 3 just so much better. So much better.
Nice.
So I'll probably obviously pick up issue 4. These are the I didn't read my other Future State books because I was tired of it. I did end up picking up, because I found the back issues. I ended up picking up 52. I picked up week 7 and week 9,
Is
which
that what I think it is?
so first appearances of like Kate Kane and new Batwoman. So
Very exciting.
yeah,
Always exciting.
I didn't have those, so I think these are actually like some of the only 2 that I have for 52. So I'm glad it's only Batwoman.
You're not missing out much on the rest of the series.
No. I won't go through all of these, but I did love X-Force a lot. I love Quentin
I
Quire
like
so
that
much.
cover so much, and the fact that he's with a cuckoo.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm not reading it, but I was glossing through it, and I think that, you know, he's such a weird little dude. I feel like a cuckoo is like the perfect person for him. I really do.
Yeah. I really, really appreciate this a lot. So here's the thing is that I haven't really kept up with X-Force other than like a couple of the issues that came out for the Ten of Swords run. And now after reading this, I'm like, I need to read every single X-Force book, with the new.
Okay. So with the new run, I was going to say, so I need you to start with X-Force Sex and Violence, because it is one of my all-time favorite books, and it is just not Mystique, it is a Domino and Wolverine fuckfest. And it is just, it's as spicy as it sounds, I promise you. And the artwork is gorgeous. Like, please track that book down and read it, because it is great.
Done. I just read, or not just, but I read Extreme X-Men with gay Wolverine and loved it so much, but also hated it. Yeah, so Wolverine is gay and he is queer AF with Hercules.
Wait. Hold on. Y'all are experiencing me have a mind break right now. There is an actual book published by Marvel Comics that makes Wolverine gay.
Yes. He has gold claws. He's in an alternate universe, where it's like steampunk universe. The artwork is kind of meh. It's very like early 2000s artwork. So
I don't care, but I feel betrayed that nobody has ever told me about this.
Yeah.
Oh my god! So that means that bisexual Wolverine is canon.
Yes, 100. Well, this is technically an alternate universe Wolverine. Okay.
In comics published by Marvel, alternate universe or not, Wolverine is bisexual. Holy shit! I feel so. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody!
Happy Valentine's Day from
Christmas.
From your Leather Daddy Darth Vader stands as well as queer Wolverine stands.
I need somebody to clip that entire scene of just me losing my shit over gay Wolverine. Oh my god, that's it. The show's done, guys. Bye.
No. So I read that recently. So whenever I think of Wolverine now, like that's my Wolverine.
That cover makes so much more sense now.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on, because I could talk about this for the next 2 hours.
100%. So on to other books that came out this week. Devil's Red Bride by Vault finished up with issue number 5. I've been loving this series this entire time, so really glad that I got a chance to read this. Sorry, let me go ahead and I'm gonna move this a little bit closer. Sorry, guys. So I really enjoyed it. I can't wait for this trade to come out because it was such a solid book, and I want everyone to read. I'm trying not to get.
I feel like it's a slow burn, so I am excited to read it by trade because I feel like Lonely Receiver, those are books that I'm just really gonna like enjoying in a solid format.
Lonely Receiver went from like 0 to 100. Maybe 0 to 60 in issue 3, and then from 60 to 200 miles an hour in issue 4. Speaking of very sex positive books, Lonely Receiver number 4 is a complete orgy from page like 2 to the rest of the issue. So
it's my jam.
Yes.
Listen, I just get excited talking about queer comic book characters and comic book crushes, and like listen, man, if I wasn't attracted to Wolverine before, oh man.
Really quick, so it's weird and it's delightful and it's heartbreaking and it's emotional and it's weird and sci-fi, and I love Sean Lewis as a writer.
That's another
And
one
the
I'm
artwork
excited
is
to
just
read by trade.
and this is issue number 5, and it's of 8 issue run. So it's
Okay.
going to be a few more months, but hopefully we get that full
That'll be
trade.
nice.
I won't go too much into I Walk with Monsters because I know you didn't read it. But I did get the Jen Hickman variant, and I
Ooh.
love their artwork. So that's such a just
They've
beautiful,
got a
beautiful
thing
thing.
with the eyes because I feel like Lonely Receiver did something very similar.
Very much so. Black Panther King in Black was good. We get to see a lot of Shuri in this episode, or in this episode, in
In this
this.
episode.
So that was really fun. If you get a chance and like you're into the Marvel movies, I would say pick this up. I did also read Daredevil 27, and the only reason I picked it up is because of Elektra.
I want to pick it up so bad, but I feel like I won't know what's happening. But I am now a huge Elektra fan. It happened overnight, spontaneously, and like, I want to pick it up, and I'm like, I should wait. I should wait.
I'll be honest, I have no clue what's going on, but I picked it up because it ties into what's going on in the King in Black universe. So I'm like, okay, I'll go ahead and pick it up. Not that I really need a reason to pick anything up because I'm just like, oh, just put it on the dumb bitch money account. Last one, I picked up Last Witch. I honestly did not think I was going to pick up issue number 2, but I'm like, you know what? It's a cool cover, and I'm so glad I did, because where the first issue, in my opinion, felt like it was like I had read it before,
Like,
that it was very tweeny. It was to me like Brave, but in this one, this one went really, really good. So
that makes me excited.
So that was a lot of what I bought and read this last week. So so let's go ahead, and I know that we wanted, it's Valentine's Day. Let's either talk about some romance, queer positive books, or do you want to go comic book couples?
Should we talk about romance comics? And this is going out to the chat to vote. Yeah, we'll talk about it all, but should we do romance comic recommendations? Should we talk about favorite comic couples, or favorite comic crushes? Because
we could talk about all of it.
We could do it all. We're gonna do it all. It's just a matter of what the order is.
Yeah.
I just think that it would be fun to just gush and talk about love and comics, because like I said before, I feel like romance and comics isn't something that we get to see a whole lot, which is crazy, because when we look at Golden Age comics and you had those young romance comics, and romance was a huge part of comics, I wish that we could get back into it. You know what I mean? Like, we don't get that anymore. And Travis came in with saying we should talk about our favorite comic book couples. So because Travis is here first every single week, I think Travis gets the pick of what we talk about. So I came stacked and prepared. Do you want to go first, or should I go first?
I feel like my favorite, there's so many favorite comic book couples. One of my absolute favorites, and I feel like this one, I don't want to steal this one away from you, because I know that you're gonna talk about it.
Well, Chris said Matt and Elektra forever, and I got you, buddy.
Okay.
Listen, I have become obsessed. It took one book, but I am now obsessed with Daredevil and Elektra. I just love their whole relationship. I love their foil. When I was thinking about it the other night, they really do feel like the Batman and Catwoman of the Marvel universe, because it's like the hero and the villain, and I'm going to do what I have to do, but I still love and respect you, and I'm still going to be there for you when I need to be. So I feel like this is Batwoman, or Batman and Catwoman, before Catwoman started to get a little soft.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I just also these covers, like, look at this shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god, all of my couples just went crashing on the floor because they know that they're the best. So, yeah. Okay, so what do you not want to steal from me? You can steal from me. I give you permission, because I'll just agree with you. It's fine.
Mr. Miracle and Big Barda. I knew that was going to be one of yours. But I think it's just like, I love Big Barda so much.
I just love tall woman. Tall woman stepping on me, please.
Mm-hmm.
She's the big vampire lady from Resident Evil, y'all. I don't know what to tell you, but I love them so much. I don't know if you can see it in the corner here. Oh,
here, give me a second.
Corner right there. I actually have this cover framed and hanging up on my wall because I just love them so much and they're so great. And listen, I don't know why or what or how Mr. Miracle was able to get a woman like Big Barda, but he has, and I am jealous about it. And here's what I have to say about that. He must have the biggest, most bomb dick on the planet. Listen.
Or she does.
I
think it's Big Barda who has the BDE. She has Big Barda energy.
She has Big Barda energy, but I'm saying, what does Big Barda see in a man like Mr. Miracle? I mean, he's cute when he's got the beard, but he's kind of lame. So, but yes, their relationship is so great and so wholesome, and this run in particular really does, I think, elaborate on that, because we see them start to come into their own as being a couple and then becoming parents and things like that, and it's just I want to be a part of them.
One of the things that I do enjoy a lot about this run, and to me this is just some of Tom King's best writing, is these moments that they have as a couple where they lift each other up. They there's especially Big Barda. Like, I feel like she literally just holds Mr. Miracle up. But there's moments where they are fighting together as a couple, and they're just kind of bullshitting about, like, oh, we're going to go ahead and rearrange the kitchen, and if we knock down this wall and we do this. And even though, like, those conversations seem like literally the most boring thing to me, I love it, and he makes those conversations interesting between those characters. So,
100%.
Yeah. But I'm here for Big Barda. So Big Barda, if you ever leave Mr. Miracle, like, you've got two other ladies who are, like, gonna go ahead and.
So they're my favorite. This next one. They're one of my favorite, if not my favorite comic book couple. But they're also low-key a toxic relationship. So I don't know if it counts, but I got to give it to the Will and the Stalk from Saga, because first of all, look at them. I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that. But I just love their relationship so much, and obviously the fact that he loves her as much as he does to go across the literal universe to, find and kill the person who killed her because he loves her that much. Yeah. The fact that it feels like it's only her that is the reason, why he is still living and why he is still fighting. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so romantic. And I wish somebody would kill a million people for me.
So if you want to know what to get a girl for Valentine's Day.
What to get a girl for Valentine's Day that's it. And I just love their relationship so much, and like, it makes me sad that she dies in the first 3 issues, because it's not a spoiler if it's been out for 10 million years and it's in the first trade.
Yeah, we've literally been on hiatus for 2 years.
For 2 years, so you have no excuse. But it makes me wonder what their relationship would have been and what it could have been like, because we see that hallucination moment where it's, him and Sophie, and he's rescuing Sophie from the big bad place, and she comes in, and it's like the 3 of them and they have a family. And I'm like, oh my God, I want that so much. But speaking of what to get a girl for Valentine's Day, I didn't bring this with me because I actually don't own anything. But one of my favorite couples in comics that I need to talk about now, or else I'll forget about it. Can we talk about Thanos and Death? Because listen, Thanos is literally here to kill. Listen, he is going to kill half of the universe because he loves a woman so much. And he's just like, please love me. I love you so much that I am willing to kill half of the universe for you. And she's just like, boy, bye. I'm done. I'm going to go love Deadpool instead because I can't have him. I
Mm-hmm.
can't have Deadpool, so obviously I want him more. And listen, that is the one thing that the MCU fucked up for me. Like, I understand you gave him a cause and a purpose that the planet is dying and this and that, so we have to get rid of the people. No, that was my favorite thing when I was in comic book shops, is being like, so do you know why Thanos actually does what he does? And people be like, no, why does he do it? And I'm like, for a woman, because
For
he
a woman.
wants to curry a woman's favor, and Thanos is confirmed. Thanos is the biggest simp. He's the biggest simp. Sorry, you heard it here first. Casually Comics.
Would he be
Thanos is the
considered
biggest
a simpo? Like a himbo simp?
simpo.
A
We've made a new
simpo.
word.
You heard it here first, folks.
Thanos is a simpo. Sorry, I didn't mean to take over your spot, but it's like, as I was
No.
talking about the will
Mhm.
and the stalk and like murdering people for a woman, I'm like, holy shit, Thanos. Thanos is king.
That's honestly one of my, like, I thought that those movies were fantastic, but I feel like that was one of the biggest disappointments for me for those movies, because in the comics, his motivation is that he wants to impress Death so much that he's going to kill half the universe, right? And I had gotten to so many arguments with fanboys when I'm like, why didn't they put that in? And so many of the arguments on why they said they didn't put that in is because people wouldn't understand having Death in a movie. And I'm like, but you had to put motherfucking Red Skull in the movie, but we understand Red Skull, but we can't understand that he was doing this for a woman. Like, come on, y'all. Like, I know the dumb things that I've done in previous relationships. Like, I've done some dumb shit for love or for other things.
For other
And
things.
for other things, I was going to say, like, whatever, I'm not going to say that word on here because this is a family show. But I have done some dumb things for dick and tits. I'll just go ahead and say it. Like,
For dick and
so
tits. For old kibble bits.
for all of them.
See, for the longest time with the MCU, because Hela they had bought in as the goddess of death and they had made her the goddess of death. So I thought for the longest time that, okay, Hela and Thanos are going to get together. And I was like, I'm here for that hot couple energy that, like, meets you on vacation and is like,
Yeah.
hey, do you want to go up to the room? And I would have been like, yo, what's good, whatever, okay. But, like, Thanos, listen, he bad, but he does it for a reason. And I'm just like, thank you, Banshee Queen. I agree. I wanted Hela as Thanos' girlfriend for a little bit. I agree 100%. But I also want Hela as my girlfriend. So that's where we stand right now.
Yeah. So I'm sorry to everyone in the chat with my filthy words that I'm saying, but if you've been to one of these shows before, like, you know what to expect. So I do think that that was one of the clearly, like,
botched things of the
botched
MCU.
things. MCU, like, you totally should have done this.
Right up there with Black Widow and the Hulk being a thing.
Oh.
I mean, we're on the topic of romance and comic book couples. Black Widow, and listen, I'm gonna give her credit for this, okay? She has been with literally every single man in the Avengers / MCU. She's been with Thor. She's been with Captain America,
Yeah.
Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Hawkeye, Winter Soldier. You know who she hasn't been with? The Hulk. Do you know who Josh Whedon put her with? The Hulk. And every time I see it, I just vomit. I projectile vomit because I'm like, this is so disgusting and there's no chemistry whatsoever. Okay, that's my soapbox rant,
Okay.
but it just makes me really upset.
While we're on the topic of, like, comic book couples, can we just, like, have a moment of silence for everyone who thinks that Hulk and She-Hulk should be together?
That's right up there with people that say that Batman and Batwoman should be together, and I'm just like, y'all don't know the cousins. They're all cousins. It's all cousins.
Anytime I remember seeing something about, like, these comments when people are like, if Stan Lee saw She-Hulk, he'd be rolling in his grave, and I'm like, my dudes, Stan Lee created She-Hulk. And whenever they're like, why are they putting them together? Like, they are related, my people. Like, no.
They're actually related, but it's the same. Listen, there is one couple I think out there that shares the same moniker and that are actually together, and that is Hawkman and Hawkwoman.
Yeah.
But like, if you see anything, if you see like Batgirl and Batman, She-Hulk and Hulk, Supergirl and Superman, do not think that they're going to get together. You should automatically assume that these characters are related in some matter of fashion, because usually they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I feel like I could go on a rant about like things in comics that just should never happen.
Never happen.
But on the subject of like other books, any other comic book couples that you love?
Oh, so many.
I will say this because you did mention Saga, but I do just love Alana and Marco. Like literally they're I don't know.
You know who I like? Prince Robot and me.
Yeah.
And Prince Robot. Just saying.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. Favorite comic. Well, obviously these are at the top of the list. Is Green Arrow and Black Canary. Oh, wait.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Green Arrow and Black Canary and Batman and Catwoman. These for me are just timeless couples that have their ups and their downs, especially these guys in particular. They have the most, I don't want to say toxic relationship, but their relationship's a little toxic, but they always find a way back together. And I've always said this. So Black Canary does not need Green Arrow, but Green Arrow needs Black Canary. Whenever these two are in a relationship and they have broken up or one goes off without the other, Black Canary, if she goes off, she's fine. As soon as Green Arrow loses Black Canary, he starts to become a mess. He starts to kill people. I mean, they got divorced and then he went and killed somebody. I mean, and rightfully so, but he killed somebody. You know, he goes and he starts sleeping with random people. And I'm like, my guy, obviously she is your tether and you just keep messing up. And like, I don't know what to tell you at this point, because you need her, but she does not need you.
Mm-hmm. Like, you need to up your game.
Up your game. But I love them, and I feel like they are a comic book couple that constantly gets shafted because neither of these characters have ongoing series right now, and I know that they're going to be in the new Justice League run with Brian Michael Bendis, but I don't want to have to read a Justice League book. I just want to read a Green Arrow and Black Canary book. Please and thank you.
So DC, you heard it here, because I know the people from DC watch this show because they've heard my pitch for Batman 100 million times at this point. So I know that I'm surprised it hasn't been talked about. But now we're on the subject of DC. I love Ivy. I love Harley together so much, especially because I think that they just got their toxic relationships previously. There is, I don't want to necessarily like spoil this, but we get to see old lady Harley in this book, and there is just a really cute moment. I'm going to spoil it a little bit, so sorry, not sorry, but like, look at them there. Look at Ivy just like sweetly kissing old lady Harley.
The most precious thing in the whole wide world. And I just think it's fascinating that we've come full circle from, okay, Harley and Ivy are confirmed in an alternate universe, but we refuse to confirm them in our main canon universe. Oh, but they're together in the show, and now we're going to make them canon in, you know, the regular universe again. And it's just like, finally, thank you for accepting that relationship. And if I can get people to stop saying that they're like Joker and Harley Quinn in relationships and can instead say that they're like Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, I'll be on cloud 9, because that's how the relationship should be. You should not listen. Couple goals are not Joker and Harley. It's not. Couple goals are Harley and Ivy.
Yeah, just 100%. I'm like Banshee. I'm glad and sad that page made you cry. But I agree, because it was very sweet. Another one, now I want to go ahead and talk about maybe like, unless you have some other like couples.
The only other couple that I really had, and I can talk about them very briefly, is Orca Dave and Violet from Rat Queens. Mm-hmm. And I really love them because they really do just kind of break gender roles, because she's very like in your face can-do warrior, and he's just this very like gentle, soft reserved guy, and she's just
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, you're the biggest himbo looking guy here. You and me are going to be in a relationship now. And they're just so sweet and so gentle and
So
so tender.
wholesome.
And like, oh, it's wholesome. And I love them so much.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that Rat Queens is so disappointing. I won't go necessarily too much into why it's disappointing, but there's a couple reasons why I don't buy it any longer.
Oh, I don't
Um,
either.
and so, but it was such a good series when things were good. But oh, I love Rat Queens, and I wish it was
I miss
it.
them so much.
One of the other couples, and I forgot to grab it, and I'm not going to grab it because I'm going to spare like people watching me struggle, taking something off the shelf. But Midnighter and Apollo, I think, are such an interesting couple because obviously, like, they're a queer couple, and I
But they're two
think,
buff burly men.
but they're two buff burly men, and I think that their relationship and how much they love each other is definitely it's really good. um, I was going to go ahead and pull this out because their relationship reminds me a lot, and I'm struggling to find the page here, so I'm sorry, folks. But the page between Nikki and what's his name from Old Guard?
Joe.
Joe. Nikki and
Nikki
Joe
and Joe.
in Old Guard. For those of you who have not watched the Netflix movie adaptation of Greg Rucka's Old Guard,
Please watch it.
please watch it. I'm going to go ahead and spoil a moment for you because I do want to talk about it since we're talking about relationships. And if you ever want to talk about your partner, I suggest that you take a line from this book. And basically, there's this moment where Nikki and Joe are taken to, they're in a van and they are being like held hostage. They're being kidnapped. And one of the people who's kidnapping him is like, huh, who's that? Is that your boyfriend? And he's like, motherfucker, this man is not just my boyfriend. He is my everything. I love that man beyond reason. His kiss still thrills me even after a millennium since I first tasted him. Like, that's some Pablo Neruda type shit. Like, that is how you write poetry
That's how you write
for
romance.
that's how you write romance right there. And he is not my boyfriend, he is not my lover nor my partner, he is all and more. Like, that moment when I watched that, like, I still tear up thinking about it.
I want
So
somebody to talk to me like that. And that is the reason
yeah,
why I'm still single, because my expectations are too high. And also
that is
because
that is
Big
all right.
Barda does not exist.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if she did, she would say shit like that.
So Big Barda, if you're out there, we got a single lady here.
Single lady. I think that is a nice segue to talk about our comic book crushes other than Big Barda, because, you know, fictional crushes, man, like, where would we be without fictional crushes? Like, what is the point of life? Also, yeah, Chris wins the bell
Yeah,
tonight because
100%.
and it's confirmed, it's canon now.
I love all the little nods to their relationship, like seeing that Jean's room is between the two, and obviously there's an open door. So that those moments
She's a bad
between
bitch.
Jean and Wolvie and Scott is like, that lives rent free in my head thinking about that throuple. So I really hope that we really get more of it, like in a dirty R-rated XXX Men type way, like triple X-Men. So I'm also here to write your filthy X-Men porn parodies as well as your Batman porn parodies. So
Oh, absolutely.
so we want to go ahead and talk about who are our comic book crushes. So I really want to know from, I mean, I feel like we
Everybody
talk
in the
about
chat, who is your comic book crush? Because yeah, we do. We talk about our crushes all the
every
time.
week. Every week we talk about it.
But I also feel like I develop a new crush every week.
Mhm.
I've always been told that I fall in love with characters faster than a Disney princess falls in love with a man, because
That's true.
literally it's like a buff lady pops up on screen, or like
Yeah.
a buff burly man pops up on screen, and I'm like, stop the press. Who the fuck is that? I'm here for the win.
Yes.
But yeah, if you could go on a date one comic book character. Okay, 3 comic book characters, because one I'm realizing now is way too hard. Who would you go out with?
It's so funny because we did talk about in the what was it, the Christmas Eve show, we talked about the fuck, marry, kill. So we did like fuck, marry, kill, and I think the 2 that I know in my heart of all hearts, it would be Swamp Thing and Magneto. And I think my 3rd would be Kate Kane Batwoman. That would be my like, if I could have all 3 on a date at once, individually, whichever one, I'm here for it.
But would they get along though? That's the problem. Now you run into that issue of, are they going to kill each other?
I don't think so. I think that Magneto would appreciate, I don't know. I would hope they get along. They better get along.
I'll make them get along.
Yeah.
Oh, this is hard.
It really is.
I don't like this. I have a list of all my faves. You're gonna make me narrow it down. This is
I can already tell you like 3 of them. Like 1 is 100% Emma Frost. I know another one is definitely going to be Hush, but
okay, let's talk about ones that I don't always talk about. I feel like now I'm cheating. Okay, so I gotta like look around the room because I know there's people popping up. So Oliver Queen, Green Arrow.
Okay.
I just like that dumb himbo energy. And I really like a man who is extremely like liberal and is like ready to like use his power for good. Like he's the anti-Batman. Like he knows he's a rich white man, but he uses that power for good. And also he's just a dumb himbo. Did I mention that? And I really, really like dumb himbos. Recent loves of my life that I have recently fallen in love with is Elsa Bloodstone. She is a rootin' tootin' monster hunter that just curses nonstop, and I'm like, I kind of am in love with you 100%. And then I don't know. I'm just gonna go ahead and say Prince Robot again because I do love Wolverine. Serge is right. I love Wolverine. I like his dumb, buff, burly sickness that is Wolverine. If that says anything about the type of people that I am into, it's usually people that are bigger than me and could crush on me. That's usually and I'm not hard to be bigger than because I'm only 5 foot. So there's that. But yeah, Wolverine and Prince Robot, because Prince Robot is great. And apparently the will has ruined people. Bookish Realm has a really great crush list. Yeah, Oliver Queen. I love Oliver Queen. That's a really Amanda Waller. Listen, I agree with you. Amanda Waller.
Get it. Amanda Waller can get it.
100%. We love the wall.
Yeah.
I was gonna. Can I have all the female Furies? Of
course.
Like at once?
Yes.
Like I want Lashina. I want Stampa. Not Mad Harriet. She's a little crazy for me. But Lashina? Listen. Lashina is literally like if you took Catwoman and Big Barda and merged them into a character. And I'm just like, that is peak aesthetic. And I am here for this shit. Okay. She could murder me and my ghost would thank her. That is how I feel with a lot of characters. That is how I feel with the scumbag boyfriend army.
Mm-hmm.
It's how I feel. I mean, I have a whole army. That's pretty pathetic.
Yeah. Ooh. Chris, I really like this. Carnage, Mary Jane. I have been loving Gwen versus Carnage, and 100%. Yep.
I like that. I like a woman who's psycho and can kill me. That's a nice touch. And that explains exactly how I feel about Batman villains. So
yeah. Whew. I feel like not only are we unpacking like our psyche in this list, but like the chat is coming through. I may not know a lot of you personally, but I know you now. Like I know who you all are based on comic book crushes, right?
Comic book crushes. I mean, they tell us a lot about our own personality and the type of people that we're drawn to. And it's like, I think it's funny because I always get told, oh, well, you must have a crush on characters like Laura Kinney and Black Canary. And I'm like, do I think that they are beautiful and attractive women? Absolutely. Do I have a crush on them? Absolutely not. And I think it's because I admire them too much and I see myself in them too much. Same with Catwoman. It's like, you're a very attractive woman, but it's not like Emma Frost, where if Emma Frost walks through the door, you bet I'm going to be on my hands and knees being like, thank you and please.
Yes, White Queen. Yes.
Oh man. And this is us not even drinking, y'all. This is just, well, okay, Jen's got some Truly, but I am completely sober, unlike our last comic book crush event, which if you want to see that blast in a glass is still live on Dan's channel at Comic Chop News.
Yes, and the link is down below, and there's actually, there's a channel, there's a link to your channel, Mars, because when you're not hanging out with me on Sunday morning or Sunday evening, you're doing some fantastic work over there. Like, your videos, the editing is absolutely beautiful, and I love it.
Thank you. Oh, Travis is fighting in the comments. Travis, you don't do that. You don't make people choose between the two cats, okay? We know that they're the same. It's like making people choose over Hawkeye and Green Arrow. We know that they're the same character, but you don't make people choose. It's just not fair. That Catwoman is better.
Let me pose this. Darkseid or Thanos? Who do you crush on more?
Thanos, because at least here's the thing. I think Darkseid might be more. How do you say which one's more attractive? They're both essentially rock people. I feel like Darkseid, and the way that Darkseid looks, is more appealing. But Thanos, we know, simps hard. So I know once he's in love with me, he will literally destroy the universe and get me whatever I want. So
yeah, because that's relationship goals, right? Like
relationship goals.
Y'all, my Valentine's Day, my Valentine came and joined us. So say hi to Luna, my baby boy. I think Thanos for me as well, and the reason why is probably a lot more ridiculous than even I expected. So whenever before Endgame came out, there was a meme theory going around that Ant-Man was going to be small and go up Thanos's butt and then just enlarge in. And
I forgot about that. Oh no.
Of course I went down the Thanos asshole wormhole meme stuff, and I, in my brain, once again lives rent free so many pictures of Thanos's butt. And in meme world, Thanos has a booty fashooty, and Thanos can get it.
There's no going up or down from here. We're just kind of stuck on an astral plane.
Yeah.
I did not expect, listen, on our Valentine's Day talk show,
Thanos's
butt is not something that I expected to happen. Yeah. We've got gay Wolverine and we've got Thanos.
Thanos butt, Thanos
There's nothing
booty.
that can surprise me anymore. Absolutely nothing.
No. But I love it, and anytime I see Thanos in Endgame, when I rewatch the movies, that's what I think about. I think about all the squats he must have been doing.
Chris said we're on the astral plane.
On the astral plane. See, thank you.
Yeah. What have y'all done? We've unleashed chaos.
I feel like there's so many other crushes, like you mentioned. There's so many characters that I just fall in love with, and man,
I'm 0 to 100. I don't even care anymore. We got Nightwing, we got Jason Todd, which are boys that are on both ends of the spectrum, and I love them all equally. I will say that one has a better ass than the other. We are back on the astral plane. See what I did there? Bruce Wayne, but only when he is drawn by Michael Janin in tight little boxer shorts, doing pull-ups off of Wayne Tower on the helicopter pad. Don't know why that was happening, but I feel like that was done specifically
It
for
makes
me.
it makes so much sense though, if you really think about it.
It makes all the sense in the world. But yeah, man, comic book crushes, they're my favorite thing.
I'm gonna go ahead and plug this really quick. So Chris, because he mentioned Vlada Dracula, and it's a story that he wrote, and it is queer, lesbian, beautiful goodness. He did a Kickstarter. Go and follow Chris on Instagram.
Oh, I need to
Yeah.
immediately.
hmm So, man, I feel like I could like look behind here,
That was
and
just our thirsty. Oh, we've got Angela.
how could I miss Angela?
Angela.
And I am going to go ahead and take a moment too, since we're like on kind of that. 100% Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie.
Listen, Tessa Thompson
Tessa
makes me
Thompson.
feel some type of way. Okay, like listen, I just there are things that I want her to do to me and things to say to me, and she could just call me the biggest bumbling idiot, and I would be like,
Okay,
"Thank
Tessa.
you,
Thank
you,
you,
Queen.
Tessa.
Thank you. I
Thank you for
appreciate.
talking to me.
Thank you for letting me breathe the same air that as you. Like, listen, she's great. Wow, thank you for reminding me of that.
I feel like I'm missing this non-comic couple, Ian and Mickey, who
I
is
think this is from Shameless.
oh, they are so adorable in a very toxic way. Man, thank you for coming with that, because um man, that brutal that makes me want to go watch Shameless again. It's been a minute.
Who is the Marvel question? Who is the Marvel himbo equivalent of Nightwing? That is I don't know why I'm immediately thinking Hercules. But
Kind of, yeah.
I immediately think Hercules because he's just so dumb and so muscular and so
hmm
dumb.
Yeah.
That's what I think of immediately. But it might. Oh, wait a second. It might be. And Chris, you might appreciate this. It might be Matt Murdock, Daredevil.
Is he a himbo though?
He's got a tight ass and he acts kind of dumb
He's got a tight
sometimes.
ass.
And they both use the same little sticks. Don't ask me to pronounce them, but they use the same sticks. So if they use the stick, they're the same person. And there it is.
That makes a lot of sense. Hmm.
That's the only one I can think of.
Yeah. Especially if it's because I feel like there's tons of Marvel himbos, but I feel like the equivalent to Nightwing is what like throws me off a little bit.
We're being asked what a himbo is. How do we explain a himbo?
So I would say a himbo, and I don't want to use this in a derogatory way,
Because
but
it's not. It's done with love and affection.
It's so much love. So a himbo is basically a bimbo, but a him. So a male version of a bimbo where they're just kind of like there. Think like maybe adorable, bumbling, good-natured, thick.
The Oxford Dictionary describes it as an attractive but unintelligent man, which is not always true because Nightwing is very intelligent. But yeah, that's a himbo. Tony Stark is pretty much. Oh wait, Chris just brought up Kraven, and now listen. That is a man in comics. I have never read a single comic with Kraven, but I have seen some images. So now this is the time for y'all to make your Kraven recommendations because I really want to read some Kraven just for science purposes here, guys.
For science
Research.
When I think about like Marvel himbos, I think about Thor. Like to me, Thor is the
equivalent of a himbo.
Is like himbo energy. There were some if Vision wasn't so smart, I did pick up some recent issues of Vision where he's just like thick and swollen coming in, and I'm like that I got himbo energy off of, but
yeah, that's definitely himbo energy right there.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm starting to realize during all of our talk of comic book crushes, I didn't talk about probably one of the most important people in comics. Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk.
She-Hulk. Yeah.
Whew.
Once again
She-Hulk,
on the list of women who can crush Mars.
the list of women that can crush me. Like, listen, She-Hulk, she's just great, and she is a woman, and I love her. And that's all I have to say on the matter, is that she is great. That's it. And there it is. This has become a thirst trap, guys.
It really is.
We always said we were going to do a thirst trap episode.
Here it is.
This is it. Our spontaneous Valentine's Day thirst trap episode, y'all. So we're here. But we're here to talk about actual comics, I feel like.
Yeah. I feel like I have a couple of like sex positive, like more, I don't want to say like more on the romantic side, because a lot of these suggestions that I have are like really like dirty, naughty type suggestions.
So I've got you covered, because I love romance comics more than anything, and I desperately wish, like I said a million times, I desperately wish that we had more romance comics. So I am here with the romance comics suggestions. So Jen's gonna cover you with the filthy, dirty stuff, and I will cover you with the wholesome but sometimes filthy, dirty stuff, because romance is a spectrum, and there are all sides to it. Beautiful poetry.
That romance is a spectrum.
Romance is a spectrum. I came up with that on my own.
Ooh. So one of the ones that was mentioned earlier, and I think that Chris from Radio of Horror will appreciate this. So Money Shot, written by Tim Seeley. Basically, the premise is that these scientists, researchers are out of money, and they need to go gallivanting across the universe and have sex with aliens.
To get money.
With alien life forms. Basically, it's like OnlyFans in space.
It's literally what it is before OnlyFans really, really took off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is pretty interesting. Very, very sex positive. I think that it does have. There's a lot of moments, like, not only are these characters like fucking all sorts of aliens, but they are also fucking each other in every which way. And fun fact, because I do love science. I read this book called Packing for Mars by Mary Roach, which was a very fantastic book, and it talks about what it takes to go to Mars. And I learned a fun fact that in Mars, in space, doggy style and reverse cowgirl are the same thing. So there's your fun space fact for the day.
Huh.
Think about it.
What do you know? Interesting.
So a little visual for you folks.
Radio of Horror says, should we explain what a money shot is? I had to explain what a money shot was to my mother like a year or two ago, so I'd rather, like, around when Money Shot came out, so I would rather not. Jen, would you like to explain what a money shot is for the class?
No, y'all are on your own.
Y'all are on your own for that.
I think if you're hearing this stuff and you don't know what a money shot is, then you should probably leave the conversation at this point.
Probably.
What are some of your, like, romantic, or one of them, because we can go back and forth.
Should I do romantic, or should I do semi-filthy and just get the semi-filthy out of the way?
Ooh, let's either or, because I've got romantic books here too.
Okay, so since we're on the topic of smut and fun, Sex Criminals, which is, listen, it is so wholesome and so great, and I love these characters so much, and it's funny. It's probably one of the funniest books I've read in forever. So if you don't know, and it's very colorful too. If you don't know Money Shot, Sex Criminals, published by Image Comics, is literally Will is asking if he came in at a bad time.
Maybe. We are talking about a little bit more adult themed things, but I know that you're a grown up. You're probably so much more wholesome than I was at your age. So maybe ask your parents if you should be here or not. I don't want to get a message from your dad later being like, why do I have to explain Money Shot to Will? Please don't, please don't, please don't.
But Sex Criminals is just people when they have sex, and a certain thing happens during sex. That's as best as I can put it right now. It is like they stop time, and so they decide to rob banks. But it's about these two people that have these special powers, and they find each other and realize for the first time that there is somebody that is just like them. And it's just a really cozy relationship, but it's also about their relationship going through, you know, its ups and downs. They end up breaking up, dating other people, eventually finding each other again. So is there a lot of sex and naughty things and naughty jokes? Absolutely. But it's kind of like Sunstone, where it's a very wholesome and fun book.
Wow.
Don't know if that makes it better or worse.
I really don't. Maybe let's talk about romance for a little bit.
We should talk about romance for a little bit.
Let's talk about romance books. Good old-fashioned wholesome romance books. One of the books that I have that is one of my favorite, like, wholesome romance books, or at least kind of a love.
He's just going to town.
He really is.
OnlyFans time.
He is. But Heathen, I thought, was a really, like, do I want to call it a love story? It gets a little bit, you know, not necessarily R-rated, but I do think that it's a very fun romance story, kind of heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking romance, finding yourself, you know, accepting yourself and your sexuality, and it's a really great book. Heathen
by Vault Comics. I think it was one of their, at least the first volume was really, really good. First and second.
And then it starts to trail off a little bit.
Yeah.
Wholesome books. My Boyfriend is a Bear.
I have not read this one.
Oh, the book is so great, but it is so sad, and well, it can be sad, but it's just it's literally what you expected. It is about a girl who has gone through some shitty relationships, and all of a sudden she finds a bear, and the bear is now her boyfriend, and they know he's a bear. It's not like there just happens to be bear people. This is literally a bear, and she has a romance with the bear, and it gets a little weird sometimes, but at the same time, it's just very wholesome and very sweet. And I don't know, I've read this book through a couple times, and it's a book that always makes me happy. So if you just want some wholesome cuteness, My Boyfriend is a Bear. It's very good and very nice, and I love it a whole heck of a lot.
Oh my goodness. I haven't read that one, so I'm gonna have to see if Powell's has that book. One of the other ones that I have, and this is definitely more of like a love romance, like love story, and that is Love is Love. For anyone who hasn't read this anthology, it is a bunch of, because it's DC and Marvel, if I remember correctly.
I think it's just DC and IDW.
Okay, that's it. So it's IDW. So it's a whole bunch of stories featuring characters, specifically a lot of queer characters. It came out after the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando, which was really sad. I lived in Florida at the time, and knowing people, like, going to gay clubs is something that's really important. And to see the tragedy that happened. So this was like a fundraiser book for that. So this was, in my opinion, a really like wholesome, butterflies in my stomach, feel good kind of book.
And that one has a story in it by Gail Simone that just thinking about it makes me cry. And it's the We'll Never Stop Dancing, and she takes a bunch of queer characters. She's got Catman, Scandal Savage, Batwoman, and it's about, you know, being queer and not being afraid to express who you are, and the whole We'll Never Stop Dancing. And it's just like, you know, I was able to meet, is it Tim Seeley who orchestrated that book? But I can't think of who it was that orchestrated the book. No, it's not Tim Seeley. It's
it says Mark Andraco.
Mark Andraco. That's who it was. I met Mark Andraco like 2 years ago at Baltimore Comic-Con and got to talk to him about that book, and was just thanking him for putting it together, because as somebody who is queer, and if I'm being quite honest, the Pulse shooting is the reason why I finally came out to my family, because I needed them to know if one night maybe I didn't come home, that was why. And it wasn't, I didn't mean for this conversation to come out, but you know, it was a very emotional moment for me, because it's like, it was everything that I felt, my feelings, you know, the love I felt being queer, the love I felt for the queer community, but also the fear, you know, and that scaredness, like the being scared of what would happen and what could happen and if it would happen again, you know, but then it also gave me the strength and the courage back because I knew that there was, you know, thousands, if not millions of other people out there that felt the same exact way. And so talking to him about it, you know, he felt the same way because he is also queer. And he's like, that's the whole reason why I did it.
Mm-hmm.
So Mark Andreyko, I love you very much. I want you to come back to comics so much because I know you don't write as much anymore, but you are a masterpiece.
Oh, I love it. And it's really, really cool. I feel like there's a lot of for anyone who hasn't picked it up, it's a really like I said, it's emotional, it's heartbreaking, but it's like it's beautiful. So I'm glad that so many people connected with it. So
100%.
100.
I've talked about this book a couple times, but Heartthrob is one of my all-time favorite comic book stories, queer or otherwise. It is just about these two young high school boys that find each other, and it's about Nick and Charlie, and Nick slowly learns that he may be bisexual because he's got this big old crush on Charlie, and I just really like this book because their relationship feels natural. You know, the way that they fall in love with each other, the conversations that they have are conversations that I would have had with friends or, you know, boyfriends or girlfriends in high school or whatnot. And it's a book that gives me like goosebumps and butterflies. Like I always find myself crying through these books, and it's silly because I know it's not like sad tears. It's like happy tears because it is something that's just so wholesome and makes me feel so wonderful and so magnificent. And just, there are very few books that make me feel this way. And I need the third one to come out immediately. Like now.
Was it like May or June that it's coming out, or is it like?
I believe it's May. So the worst part is overseas, it's already been released. So like V already has a copy of it. And I'm like, girl, if you don't send me your copy, I swear to God.
I thought you were going to be like, don't spoil it for me.
No, I was like, I need you to send me your copy because I need to read this like yesterday. But apparently it is a web comic, so you can read it all online.
Ooh, even like the third volume, or
I
just
believe
the first
so.
two?
I think everything is online. I just would rather have it in a book and be able to, you know, flip through it and enjoy it that way.
Okay.
Luna's just having a time, man.
He really is. I love this little boy. There was one book that I wanted to bring up, but I don't. I don't see it right here, but it was Check Please. I thought that it was a first, second book, but I'm not finding it right here in my first, second area. So I don't know where it is, because the way that you just described that book is how I feel like I would describe first, or Check Please, which was kind of a cute sportsy type book. I feel like I learned a lot about hockey.
Mm-hmm. And it's also very similar to Bloom, which is another first, second book.
Mm-hmm.
Bloom and Heartstopper have very, very similar characters. Like the characters are almost like shot for shot the same, but I enjoy both equally. So Bloom from First, Second, and Heartstopper, which is published by Scholastic Graphics. And this is just my color scheme, so I love it.
It really is.
It's my whole color scheme. So there's just some really great queer representation, because I always feel like when I'm reading queer books and I'm thinking about making queer recommendations, I feel like I'm always lacking on, you know, gay romances versus say lesbian or bisexual romances. So I'm really glad that I was able to discover both of these books this year, because it helped broaden my horizons. And I just love Luna just enjoying life and watching the show, and just, man, I want to be Luna so bad right now.
He's such a good boy. I do think that especially those web comic type books, because Check Please was a web comic, and so was Heartstoppers. It's Heartstoppers, right?
Heartstopper.
Heartstopper. So I feel like a lot of those books, they're initially going to be web comics, and I feel like that's where we get a lot of that like queer representation and maybe stories that we don't necessarily see in the mainstream. A lot of times end up starting as web comics.
Oh yeah,
And
no, 100%.
we
And
need
yeah,
more beefy gay romances, please. Yes.
more beefy gay romances.
But Chris, I think that you have read the Extreme X-Men, the beefy relationship between Wolverine and Hercules. I think about that beef a lot since I've read it.
Read this. Like, what the hell is this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the hell? What? But yeah. Do you have any more romance comics? Because I know I have a couple here still that I can talk about.
I just have two, but they are not like romance. They are more like, I mean, kind of romance, but they're more on the like R-rated side than anything.
I see one you got there. I recognize it. I know what that book is. Is it pretty bad that I can recognize it from the back of the book? There it is. It's the book we always talk about. I feel like we've talked about this book every show for the past 2 months.
Every show, and seriously, I honestly went into Sunstone thinking, I'm like, it's going to be, I say this every time, a scissor fantasy. It's just going to be Stefan Sejic's scissor fantasy, BDSM scissor fantasy between two ladies. And this is so wholesome and I love it so much. I think I have the third volume, but I haven't read past that yet. So
it's definitely a good book. And he's got the new book coming out too. That should be coming out at the end of 2021, which I'm extremely excited about, called Fine Print, which is about to be, it's about a woman who basically signs her soul to the devil or to succubi, and she has a male succubi or succubus and a female succubus. I know there's proper terms, I'm sure, for each one, but I'm very interested into this bisexual fantasy that Stefan Sejic is creating for us, and considering what he did with Sunstone, I'm here for it 100%. Like, give me more filthy, naughty comics.
That are like so wholesome and I feel like educational. I do feel like they're, oh my goodness, what was in the most recent issue of Commanders in Crisis, written by Steve Orlando, who did
First of all,
Midnighter.
those covers do not deserve to be as hot as they are. Every time I see one of those covers, I'm like, damn, I should be reading this story. Also, thank you for the clarification on incubus and succubus. I knew there was a different term. I just could not think of it. Probably because succubus is the only one that matters.
Yeah.
Like,
so in Commanders in Crisis, I love how Steve Orlando like just gives us a little bit of like rim jobbing. Once again, yeah. So there is like 100% ass eating going on in Commanders in Crisis. So spoiler alert there.
there it is. There's the third one of the night. I'm officially broken. We had gay Wolverine, Thanos Thanos, and now Commanders in Crisis and rim jobbing. And I'm okay. This is learning tonight. Mm-hmm. Okay. Fantastic.
So I love these like little I don't know, like little tidbits of information that we get. And I pulled this one earlier, but I did end up buying just the tips. It's the tips written by
very informational
Matt Fraction and Chip Zdarsky. So if you do love the like absurdity of sex criminals, it's a like sex guide, but it's really not. Oh my goodness, where's one of them? Where is it? It was my favorite. But anyways, dang it. Here it is. BDSM stands for Bondage Discipline Spider-Man.
Facts. Facts. Also, Chris has a question, and that is Guy Gardner a himbo? He is most definitely a himbo. 100%. You look at definitions of himbo, and Guy Gardner is there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He is a himbo.
Side note question. If you want to know how to derail, this should just be like the regular conversation that we have every
Regular
week.
conversation of like himbos, like what's good.
Mm-hmm.
So back to wholesome romance comics.
Wholesome romance comics.
I mean, it is wholesome, but it's kind of filthy, but it's kind of revengey. And y'all love Aftershock comics. So Insects from Aftershock Comics. This was one of the launching titles for Aftershock. And not enough people talk about this series, okay? This series is fantastic. It follows two Victorian women who fall in love with each other and basically have monster babies because the one's husband is awful and she hates her, or she hates him, and she loves her like handmaiden. The two fall in love, and like I said, they create monster babies. They kill the husband, then they have to deal with the husband's awful family, and it is just it is just great. It is like body horror mixed with lesbian romance, and it's like a really great episode of Penny Dreadful. And like I said, I absolutely love this comic to itty bitty pieces, and I feel like nobody ever talks about it. So if y'all love Aftershock comics, y'all want some really great romance, some really great body horror, some really great revenge, definitely pick up this book, because this, like I said, continuously slides under the radar, and I don't know how. I feel like this is what Lonely Receiver is or was back when Aftershock first started.
Remind me who writes that one as well.
This is done by Marguerite Bennett.
Oh, okay.
So,
and she did Animosity as well. So I feel like that title I remember seeing in a comic book shop, picked up issue 1, but could never find any more issues, and then it just I don't know.
It's a good. I remember when it first came out, I was the only person at my comic shop subscribed to it. I'm like, what? Why? I don't understand. So I know, because you don't have a lot of romance books.
I'm so glad you have that book in your hand, because I'm very, very curious if you're going to pick that up.
I should talk about this. This is a hard one to talk about. So, romance romance is a spectrum, and I very much believe that. And I feel like Heartthrob is the perfect like example of that. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm sorry, I'm already getting like flustered because this book is just very special to me. It means a lot. So Heartthrob is like the epitome of a toxic relationship. But it's even stranger because what do you do when the toxic relationship is in your mind? So it follows the story of Callie, who has to have a heart transplant because she's got some weird heart disease that she's always had since she was a kid. Finally gets the heart transplant, doesn't know who the mysterious donor is. And then the mysterious donor starts to show up in places and encourages her to not only start up a romance with him, but to rob banks. And you have to remember that this happens, she obviously knows that he does not exist. And yet the two continue to carry on a very, very, real relationship together. You find Callie kind of talking to herself in front of other people, but then you can see Mercer, who is, the man she's in love with, beside her. And it's a really weird story, because I say that it follows a toxic relationship, but there are moments in this book, and it's a lot of Callie starting to find herself and develop herself. And she does that through Mercer, this imaginary man she's created, telling her these things. So it's like herself telling her these things, but it's him saying, how great she can be and her potential, in a very wholesome and very sweet way. And I don't know why, don't know what that says about my personality, but I every time I read this book, I just kind of sit there and I'm like, lost. And I'm like, it's just very special. And it's one of those books that I did not expect to love as much as I did, because it comes off as, okay, it's this crime romance book, no big deal. But then it starts to really explore mental illness through romance. And it's just something we haven't seen done before. And, I love books about mental illness. I always talk about Jeff Lemire's Moon Knight, more recently talking about Scott Robinson's Scarlet Witch run, which dives into Wanda's psyche. And I just feel like doing a mental health book through a relationship and through a partner is a very effective way to do it. So if you want a book that might make you cry, because I think that the only reason I cry is because I'm a big dumb baby. There's also a lot of like Fleetwood Mac inspirations in this book too that I really love. Read Heartthrob, because if we talk about underrated books, because this is done by Oni Press and literally slipped under the radar, this is it right here.
And that's a Chris
it is
book,
a Chris
correct?
Sabella book, and it's a Chris Sabella and a Robert Wilson, who I love Robert Wilson's art, and he did some of the artwork in Bitch Planet. So, two really, really great creators on that one.
I think that Chris Sabella as a writer is very underrated.
Very, and he tends to get very like in your face with these weird stories, but weird stories that you can relate to. I mean, we look at Crowded, we look at Heartthrob. I always get them confused, and I have them sitting right next to me, Heartstopper and Heartthrob. But yeah.
One of the books that I picked up this last week, and I haven't actually really read, like I read maybe the first, even though it's a graphic novel, what would be the first issue-ish, is I feel like this is going to be really wholesome, but it's called Thirsty Mermaids. And it's basically about these mermaids who they end up getting a spell where they can go to dry land and they can hang out. So they're like going to bars, they're looking to get laid. And it's really just
priorities.
It's really funny so far. And basically they go to dry land and they want to have a fun night out, but the spell wears off. And then they are stuck on land. So it's done by Kate Leigh, who did Snapdragon, which I really, really loved.
Oh, okay.
Which is another, like, I wouldn't necessarily call like romance, but I feel like there's some romantic elements to it. But this just looked really, really fun in like a fun, wholesome, but kind of like raunchy way. So maybe like Rat Queens, less raunchy, but with mermaids.
I want to read it. Who publishes that?
This is done by, it says G13, so a different publisher than I'm typically used to. It says, Simon and Schuster, Gallery Books. So
okay.
So Chris, I don't know if I'm really glad that you are here. Do you have advice on how to break someone? Break up someone with mental illness and worry, how they will react. I'm not here. I would.
That's a hard one.
I'm really bad at relationship advice. And I would say, just from me dealing with mental illness, in relationships and personally,
I think being honest, honestly.
Be honest. And if someone is struggling with mental illness, are they making the choice to go to therapy? Therapy is so essential. So if that's the conversation, I would say start the conversation there. Therapy. And comic books.
Aramis wants to know if Thirsty Mermaids is LGBTQIA. I am also very curious if it is.
It feels like it is. I feel like there is, let me go ahead, and maybe this is like too much, but I'm going to go ahead and do this really quick. So you can see that you get some like thirsty mermaid butt.
Ooh.
So it's like, I know that's like not necessarily the end all be all of like LGBTQIA plus, but I do feel like the mermaids are very much non-binary, and I feel like their choices are very non-binary, if that makes sense. So I feel like it's very queer. Yeah.
That makes sense. That is very, very true.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of queer books, I didn't bring it because it's not really a romance book, but I did just read it and I want to share it because I feel like this book changed my life and was everything that I've been looking for in a comic. And that is Cosmo Knights by Hannah Templar. I just recently read it, and I I always talk about how I am tired of queer books having a focus. No. I'm tired.
I didn't know there was going to be like a.
Sorry. I'm always tired of having queer books having a focus on coming out and finding your sexuality and accepting your sexuality.
And tragedy.
I want just a queer book that is queer characters. And that is what I found in Cosmonites. So Cosmonites is about, this futuristic world. And it sounds really horrible at first, but it's these knights that joust for the curry and favor of princesses. And then they either get to marry the princesses or they get to sell them off to other royal families to marry. And it is about this group of Cosmonites that are two lesbians that break gender roles, and they literally enter these battles and they win these princesses and then release them, for lack of a better word. And they go and they win the tournaments and they get the people or the princesses and they release them. And it's just really wholesome. There's a buff lady that I really, really like. And I don't want to spoil it, because when I read this part, I was like, oh my God, but there is some stuff that happens in the book that it kind of puts you in the perspective of what it is to be one of these princesses. And that's why the Cosmonites are starting to do what they do. And it's just really great, really wholesome. I really, really love it. Also,
So
we
much
try our best. Listen,
I needed to hear that.
Validated. Ask Jen, okay? I literally redid my makeup 5 minutes before the show even aired because I was like, I do not look good. I need to redo my makeup. And I redid my makeup.
And I will let you all know, she did look good.
I look like a clown.
She cute. And she's like, I need to redo my makeup. And I'm like, girl, you look gorgeous.
Sometimes we just got to do what we got to do, okay?
Yeah. It's so funny about who publishes Cosmonites. Sorry,
I think it's IDW.
Okay.
I think.
I feel like I have heard so many good things about Cosmonites, and I have picked it up, put it down, picked it up, put it down, went to go buy it, didn't buy it, and it sounds so up like what I would read.
Exactly.
And I don't know why I haven't read it yet, because it sounds so good.
And I was the same way, where I was like, I saw it around and I'm like, this seems like my aesthetic. It's gay bounty hunting ladies in space or whatever. And I'm like, aesthetic? Why haven't I picked it up before? And my library had it. And I was like, let me get it in. And I thought it was going to be one of those books, because when you flip through it, you're kind of just like, okay, it's just average. But when you get into some of the dialogue and some of the character interactions and the characters themselves, it is a book that I read in one sitting. And usually I'm the type of person where I do a bunch of stuff in between. I'll read, 1 or 2 issues in a graphic novel, and then I'll go do something else and I'll come back. This was like, I literally could not wait to finish it. And now I have to wait for volume 2. And I'm very, very sad, but it is very good and very queer and very wholesome.
Have you read Odyssey?
I have not. Is that the acid trip one?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is basically Homer's Odyssey, gender bent, in space, queer as fuck.
Wait. I've known about Odyssey. I knew it was about Homer's Odyssey. No one ever told me it was gender bent and queer. I am betrayed yet again.
Yeah, it is. So it's all basically like an all-female cast. And man, I want and need more of it, and I don't think that we're gonna get it. It's really good. I have a coloring book. I have an Odyssey coloring book that has like dicks all over it and like vulvas and all of that, and it's just fantastic because you can make them glittery and you can color them however you want.
What?
Yeah.
Betrayal. I need this book immediately.
I was like looking, and I don't have it right here, which means that it's probably I've got some because this is my image section right here. Like this middle section is all image. So I've got to.
She's got too many books, y'all.
Never. Not enough.
Too many books.
I feel like that. I mean, I could literally go on and on about.
We could talk forever about comics.
But I feel like that's like most of the stuff that I wanted to talk about. I could probably ramble a little bit more. But do you have anything, like any other books that you can recommend for this?
Odyssey done by Matt Fraction?
Yes.
feel so betrayed.
It's so good. It's so good.
Okay, I'm gonna have to put it at the top of my reading list. So the only other book I wanted to talk about, I guess, before we do our wrap up and we talk about the comics we're excited for coming up this week, is The New World, and that is because this is a book that I literally found this year for like $10, and I was like, this looks so cool, I want to read it. This is literally like Romeo and Juliet meets Mad Max Fury Road, and it is so cool and so queer in a way that's not queer, and it's just it's so colorful and so beautiful, and it's done, hold on, where's that spread that I need you guys to witness, because it is done by Trad Moore. And Trad Moore's artwork is like, I'm obsessed with it right now. I'm really upset that I never got his giant X-Men cover, because I should have gotten that. But like some of the designs in this book, and it's literally just about two young kids falling in love, smashing capitalism and the government, and deciding to just say screw it and do what they want to do. So it's not like in your face romance, but I mean, it is literally the whole premise of the book is that they fall in love and decide that they're just going to say screw it and do what they want to do. So if you want a really fun, really trippy book, because that's the best way to describe this artwork, is trippy. Also, forgot to mention Nat and Bucky. Also, Mars, what about Bane?
You did talk about that Black Widow, she's been with everyone. Like,
yes, but I didn't describe her as one of my favorite comic couples, which they are, and I agree, and I feel ashamed. So I'm just gonna goldfish brain that, and we're gonna talk about Bane, because when Nicola Scott draws Bane,
okay, yeah,
and he is just the beefiest, bulgiest, himbo-looking man. You know, listen, she draws Bane, and he's got the really thin straps of his leotard, and you see all the muscle and all the chest hair popping out, and I'm just like, this is why I love comics. This is why we read comics. You know, I'm here letting Nicola Scott, listen, you know how we get the swimsuit editions for Marvel?
Yes.
Can we get DC comic swimsuit editions, but only for the men, drawn by Nicola Scott?
Yes, 100%. Yes.
I want it. But yes, falling in love and smashing capitalism, that is the best way to describe The New World. And like, I'm sad because I feel like this is a book that could have been more, but it's only 5 issues and it's a single trade. And I don't know if that was intentional or if it because it literally slipped under the radar, that it's only 5 issues, because when this was released in 2018 or 2017, I don't even remember this coming out.
Yeah.
So, but this is a really great I feel like this is a sleeper hit for the new, or for Image Comics for sure. 100%.
This is a safe place, right?
Safe
I
place.
can be honest. I bought this book last year and it ended up in my to be read pile, and I still haven't read it yet. So I feel like now that, like, I literally, like, I had it up on my shelf. You all saw me pull it out. I'm taking it out and I'm pulling it in my to be read stock. It's going right next to Thirsty Mermaids.
Thirsty Mermaids. Yeah, it's a good, there was another book that I read in one sitting and that I really, really enjoyed. Some of the dialogue in it is just really fun. It's just, and Trad Moore's art, man. You're going to enjoy it for Trad Moore's art alone.
I was just flipping through it and I'm like, okay, why have I not read this? So I'm going to read those, and I'm not going to pick up Cosmo Nights until I finish reading those, because I don't need another book on my...
That's fair. We're just here to tell you, like, I'm here to tell you all the wonderful books to read.
Yeah.
Like, just read all of the wonderful books.
And then what books, like, not to read that were just like, Deep Beyond was trash.
Right,
don't read it.
Casual Fling was uncomfortable trash. But Jen's still gonna buy it for some reason.
I am, because DB money, and I'm here. I don't have a book like Mercy to, like, do this to me, so I'm not gonna read Deep Beyond.
Casual Fling.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna do it with Casual Fling. So like you said, we are here to also talk about books from next week that we're really excited about. So
next week is humongous. I have, and this doesn't, I don't think this includes variants. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 11 books, and one of those books has 3 variants to it. Fuck. What am I gonna do? how am I going to read everything? Because everything, it's like all the good stuff came out in 1 week. So do you want me to start or do you want to start? Because I know
You go ahead and start.
All right.
I
So
do.
Barbarian Red Planet, number 4, which we both really, really love. It's great queer content. It's fantastic. I still need to read issue 3. Don't know what happened. I need to read issue 3.
So good.
Batman Catwoman number 3, which I'm gonna read it. I'm not loving it right now. 2 was not that great, but I'm still gonna enjoy it. Black Cotton number 1, which is from Scout Comics.
Scout Comics.
I'm a little nervous about this book because it's gonna go one of 2 ways. It's either going to be really, really good or it's going to be cringy as fuck. So for those of you that don't know, Black Cotton is literally like, what if the roles of race and stereotypes and oppression were reversed? So it's white people are oppressed and black people are in power. And when we look at books like Black from Black Mask Comics, which is about black people and only black people having superheroes, that is done in such a phenomenal way, you know, that it's great and it's powerful. Black Cotton could be that same way, but
it's Scout. So it's like
Scout, and it could go either way. It's like, are they that big brain? Are they that like great about it? Or are they just doing it for like the shock value and doing it because of everything going on right now?
You know, I feel like they're when it comes to Scout, like I feel like the first and maybe second issue gets so much hype in there. Like we've got like second printing of this and we've got this really cool variant and this and that. And then they end up getting really hot for whatever reason. And then they just kind of like fizzle out. I did really love Yasmin. That was a fantastic book. I did also love Canopus by Dave Chisholm. And I absolutely love Gut Ghost by Enzo Garza. Those are some of my favorite books, like very, very enjoyable. But I feel like the titles that don't deserve it get all the love. And I feel like the titles that I love that are just like weird little books, you know, don't get the recognition. Yeah.
So also from Scout Comics, there is Black Friday number 1, which I think is their first Black Caravan imprint, which is supposed to be like a more like mature horror. And it's really like Black Friday and there's monsters and like there's an evil dark energy. And I'm like, oh, I'm kind of interested in this. Why hasn't this happened before? But again, I'm not as nervous with this one as with Black Cotton because Black Cotton is such a touchy and political subject that you have to be careful on, whereas Black Friday could just be a hit and miss fun horror book. So there's that. Black Widow number 5, which I feel like it's been a hot minute since we've had a Black Widow issue. I feel like we haven't had one for like 1 or 2 months and I just haven't noticed it.
Was it like a hype? Because did the first volume come out with the first 4 issues?
I don't know.
Because I honestly thought that was going to be the end of it, and then I didn't hear from it, and then I looked on my list, and then issue number 5 was there. So we'll see.
I'm not sure, but I'm excited to see Black Widow back in action. Hopefully, we keep up with the same momentum that we have been with the first 4 issues. Future State, I've only got 2 books, and that's Future State Catwoman, which I'm excited for just because I'm hoping I get to see way more onomatopoeia than I did in the first issue. Like, please give me more than 1 panel. And then Future State Wonder Woman number 2, which even if the story is bad, we at least have that really, really great Jen Bartel art.
Oh, Immortal Wonder Woman.
Immortal Wonder Woman. Yep. Sorry, Immortal Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I forgot there's 2 different Wonder Womans. Haha number 2, which I am really, really excited for. I've been like wanting to read that book again, but I don't want to reread number 1 a million times over.
Yeah.
And it's a cute little clown girl, so I'm like, this could be really, really cute, but really, really dark. So we'll see what happens. Hollow Heart number 1, which I'm so excited for. It is queer monster romance. I am really excited for Jen to read this one because I got to read it like 2 months ago or a month and a half ago. I don't know. It's been a while. I got to read it, fell in love with it. Oh man, so excited for people to get their hands on this book, and I know I'm getting all.
And there's like I was gonna say there's like 4 or 5, 3 variants. I thought there was like 4 or 5 variants.
There's 3 covers, and then there's an incentive variant by David. That's
right, David Mack, and it's like the gold foil one. So
So Jen's dumb bitch money's coming for her.
Yeah, because I love David Mack.
But
I'm coming for David Mack.
I have all 3 of the normal variants pre-ordered because they're just so gorgeous and cute, and I love them. From DC Comics, I actually forgot about this book, but I'm really excited. It is Truth and Justice #1. I believe that this was a digital first, and now it's the first compiled issue. But I like the idea of Truth and Justice because it feels like Brave and the Bold all over again. And I have been missing Brave and the Bold because Brave and the Bold, as we know, are these really nice isolated stories that were usually team ups between characters, but it feels like Truth and Justice might just be isolated anthology issues featuring characters that don't always get the limelight that they deserve. So first issue is going to be Vixen. I can't remember what issue 2 was, but I know issue 3 was like Jonah Hex. So I'm like, okay, I'm hoping, here we go, can I get an issue about Fire and Ice? Because I love Fire and Ice, and they don't get love in the universe. And then the last book I have is We Live #5, which I still need to read We Live #4. That is sitting on top of Barbalian. I'm going to read them before those issues come out because I really do love those books.
I feel like We Live surprises me. Like every single issue, I think that it's going somewhere and it goes somewhere else. And it's been so delightful. I feel like our lists are so similar. And I thought that I had a list written out, but I don't. I do have some pictures of things that are coming out. So if y'all can see. So
going through.
I know. So I've got Haha and then Barbalian. Black Widow.
Love that alien variant.
I do want to pick up all the alien variants. Cable, because I love Fuckboy Cable. We've got the Champions. This is like issue 4, but I really want the Riri Williams Ironheart cover. We've also got Kick in Black #4. I think it's either going to be 4 issues or 5 issues. So that's almost about to wrap up. Also MODOK, because I love MODOK and Patton Oswalt. And we've also got Gwenpool on there. I put this on the list. I really don't know if I'm going to get this. There's a creator attached to it that I'm not crazy about, so we'll see if this one actually gets picked up. That's where my dumb bitch money ends. And then I've also got Abbott 1973 #2. I think this is the variant cover as well. And then let's see, Black Cotton is definitely on my list. Hollow Heart, and then Shadow Doctor is also coming out, so that looked pretty good. And then Terminal Punks #4, which is a Mad Cave. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love Terminal Punks so much. We Live #5. And that's it. But I know I'm going to pick up like double that. That was just the ones that I got the pictures for.
Because, you know, Jen picked up 30 books this week. Next week, it's going to be 60 or 70 books.
You know, when I was looking at the list, I think that I'm going to end up with like maybe 20 something books. I think it's actually going to be a lighter week for me this week. Surprisingly. Yeah. Alrighty. So we just hit the 2-hour mark, and which is why I hate working early, but I love doing these shows at night because then like 2 hours doesn't seem as like bad, I guess.
Doesn't seem as time constraining.
No, it doesn't. So this is going to be the point of the show where I'm like, hey, go like and subscribe. Mars's channel below. I also did put some other links to other channels below, so you can see some friends that we hang with and that we really appreciate and love. So go check them out. Take a chance to like and subscribe, whatever you want to do with this channel. But on your channel, what do you have going on?
Absolutely nothing, because I spent all weekend still hanging up pictures and frames and all the wonderful things that I have. So I'm hoping, I've been in kind of a rut lately, so I haven't really been content creating, and that's okay because I tell myself that when I'm in a rut, not to pressure myself. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, to have some content out soon. I have been brainstorming up a storm, literally. So fingers crossed to have something out new for you guys very, very soon.
So that just means you need to go like and subscribe because things come out.
It gives you time to catch up.
Exactly. So I feel the same way. Like I have all these million ideas. I'm like, I'm going to do this video on this. I'm going to do this video on this. And live streams are so much easier. Even though I could probably spend 2 hours editing a video, but I'm not going to. At least maybe I will eventually. I've got a couple things planned, so hopefully get to them shortly. But I want to thank everyone for being here, hanging out with us on Valentine's Day. I love you all. Thank you, Mars, for being here. I love you so much.
Love you.
So go send some love to these channels and have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.